first off, if you're new to my channel, I want to say hi, I'm Carly. Nice to meet you. But this video is actually going to be part 2 to a video I created called My Story, and I will link that video down below in case you haven't seen it. In the entire 5 years that I've been on YouTube, I've only shown you guys one relationship, and even that relationship, I just posted photos of us on Instagram and mentioned it a couple times in videos. But that's pretty much all of that relationship I put online. But if you've been a long-time viewer of mine, you know what relationship I'm talking about. If you don't, that's okay. This story is not about him. It's about me, girlfriend. I need some serious help. We're not even into the video. No! Stop it! Why? I knew that if I was going to film this, it was because I wanted to share the experience so it could help you guys. So if you're going through a rough period in your life, or you've been through a difficult relationship or a breakup, I hope that my experience and my story can help you guys. So before I moved to LA, back when I was living in Chicago, I was in a serious relationship, and this relationship lasted for about a year and a half. I'm in a creative industry, and I knew that if I wanted to really pursue my career 100%, that I had to move to either LA or New York, because that's where the industry is. But I was staying in Chicago for this relationship, and the person that I was dating was a law student. So it wasn't like the relationship was a lot of fun, because if you have dated a law student, you know how busy they are. For me, it was definitely because I was in it for the long haul, and we had discussed marriage before. He would make comments like, oh, when we get married, I hope that our children have your nose, comments like that. We're on the same page as far as it being a serious relationship. But around the year and a half mark is where I really began to question, where is this relationship going? And I was praying that God would really open up the doors for us to have serious conversations about timelines, when things were happening. And I was also really questioning and praying about my career at the time, because I wasn't sure, was I supposed to continue in social media? Was this gonna fall to the backside? Or was this something that I still was supposed to be pursuing 100%? So these were all the questions that were going around in my mind. At this point, I had met his family a couple of times. His family didn't allow their children, significant others, to come to family functions, so I wasn't allowed to go to things where he would be around family, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of that. And he didn't spend too much time with his family. He wasn't very close with his parents. He wasn't very open with them. The one time I tried to send his mom flowers for her birthday, she told him it was weird. So that was just kind of my relationship with his family. But as I began praying about where our relationship was going and where my career was going, I'm not kidding you, within a couple of weeks, his parents randomly called him out of the blue and told him that they didn't approve of his relationship with me. They thought he was with me just because I was pretty. They couldn't believe that he would be with a girl like me, with a girl who posts videos online. Basically, it boiled down to them giving him an ultimatum that they didn't approve of his relationship and they wouldn't support him, and that he needed to break up with me. Not only coming from anyone would that be hurtful, but coming from the family that I hoped one day would be my second family, it was really hurtful for them to be saying these things about me. And it was even more hurtful because they didn't know me. I knew what they were saying wasn't true, and he said he knew what they were saying wasn't true. We ended up seeing a marriage counselor to discuss how to best deal with his parents with what they were saying, because I still wanted to be respectful to them. In this session, the counselor was asking him questions like, do you love her? Do you want to marry her? And he kept saying yes, yes. And the counselor asked, do you believe what your parents are saying is true? And he said no. Shortly after we went to this counseling session, we went to lunch with his parents to spend the day with them, to try to get them to see our relationship. After this lunch, I went up to his mom and went up to her separately. And I remember saying to her, if she ever wanted to get lunch with just me, if she ever wanted to sit down and talk to me and really get to know me, I would be more than willing to do that. I wanted her to know that if she ever wanted to address any of these concerns she had about who this woman was that her son was dating, she could take it up with me directly. She never took me up on my offer. She never called me. She did not want to get to know me further. She had made up her mind about me. Afterwards, I flew to New York to work on a project. I was there for 2 days, and then when I came back, he picked me up from the airport. We went back to my apartment, and then he told me that his parents were right about me. He said everything his parents said was right. He said that he was just with me because I was pretty. And then he said that he was with his family and they were doing yard work, and I'm not the type of woman who would do yard work. At this point, I was looking around and I was like, homie, I'm in a skyrise. I don't have a yard. He said he would never want to be with a girl like me. I was like, you know from the first 3 seconds of meeting me that I'm on YouTube and I'm on the internet. That's like when I first introduced myself, I was like, hi, I'm Carly, I make YouTube videos. It wasn't like we had been together for a year and a half and he was like, what? You do what online? Oh my gosh, I'm not okay with this. And so it wasn't like a surprise, and my content wasn't a surprise. He was definitely aware of it and very supportive of everything that I did. But when he was saying these things to me, it was literally like I was looking at a different person. It was like this person flipped a switch overnight. That's every girl's worst nightmare, to be with someone for a year and a half and think that this person who says that they love you knows you and knows you better than anyone else, for them to say to your face that none of that ever mattered and that none of that was true is pretty much the most hurtful experience you can go through. It's especially hurtful for me because I get that kind of stuff online every day. I have people who don't know me who are writing criticism about me on my videos, on my Instagram comments. That's just something I have to deal with in life. I expected that from people who didn't know me. I didn't expect it from the person who I thought I was going to marry. So through this dark experience, I knew this time that God had a plan for all of it. And it was pretty obvious to me that I was praying about my relationship and my career. And it was pretty obvious what the answer was to me. I thought that it was pretty obvious for me that I was being shown to move to LA. But if that was true, there were a lot of things that I needed to figure out. This definitely wasn't a rash decision. It wasn't me being like, this is over, I'm out of here. A lot of things had to line up for this move to happen. For me, the next logical thing was to go try out living in California, see how it was if I was to move. Would this be something that would work for me? So I went and stayed with my friend for 3 weeks, and I worked out here like I would work if I was back in Chicago. I told my parents that I thought it was right when I was there. It felt right. They were like, okay, Carly, you just moved into this apartment 3 months ago. You need to figure out what you're doing with this. You can't just up and leave your lease. So the next Sunday when I was in church, I was with one of my girlfriends. And this girlfriend of mine told me that one of her guy friends, one of her old-time guy friends, was going to come down to Chicago, go to our church for the first time. He was telling me that he was really interested in moving downtown Chicago. He needed an apartment and he could move in at any time because his lease was month to month. At that point, I was just like, okay, this is obvious to anyone else. Like, I was like, really? What did you just say? Like, you said you can move into my apartment at any time? Of course you did. So I was like, well, you're gonna want my apartment. And he was like, shouldn't you try to like get me to come look at it? Shouldn't you like sell it to me a little bit more? And I was over here like, you're gonna be saying thank you to me once you see this apartment. You're welcome in advance. I was so sassy, but if you guys saw my old apartment in Chicago, it was this beautiful 30th floor corner unit, all windows, like absolutely stunning apartment. It was a gem of a find, and I'm still sad that I had to give it up. But whatever, I still got to go back to it because long story short, we ended up dating, whatever, it's fine. Different story, different story. My apartment situation, my job situation, everything was lining up. And I found an apartment in California, signed for it, and I moved on January 28th, 2014. It was so amazing for me because on my 1-year anniversary of moving to LA, I got to say that I signed with E. I'm crying on the internet. These are happy tears, people. I promise I won't use this as a thumbnail. Okay, maybe I will. Clickbait. Gonna make it one of those really dramatic titles like, this girl gets broken up with. What happens next? I'm crying. If you go on E's website, my picture is there. I shoot videos for E Online. I work with them to write articles for E Online. I shoot with them for segments on E News. I also have a clothing line coming out in February. I'm partnering with a clothing line called Dre, which is a major clothing line that already sells at Nordstrom, Urban Outfitters, Anthropologie, Shopbop, Revolve, and they're producing my designs. I can literally remember being a 7-year-old girl drawing up the designs for what I wanted to be my future fashion line and sitting there and just working on my signature for what it would look like if I was to ever have a tag on a clothing design. It's really happening. Can't wait to show it to you guys. With significantly less tears in my eyes. Or maybe more, who knows? Get it together, girl. Get it together. You're not even done. You're not even done. I look like a hot mess. I'm like crying and covered in makeup. Aren't you inspired? This could be you someday. I wanted to share my experience with you guys because Unfortunately, breakups and negative times in relationships are things that most people will go through in their life. It's really easy when you're going through a breakup, especially if it's in a serious relationship, to feel like you aren't loved, to feel like you don't know where your life is going, to feel like you just don't even want to get out of bed in the morning. Please, please do not give into those thoughts. Just because your relationship is over does not mean that you are over. It doesn't mean there's not anything left for you. Please don't let one situation dictate how you're going to live the rest of your life. It would be so easy for me to hear those things that he said about me and that his mom said about me and internalize them and be hurt by them. If someone that loves you is giving you criticism to try to better you and make you a better person, that's coming from a place of love, and that's something I would listen to. But this was coming from a person who didn't know me. Someone who doesn't know me can't speak into my life and tell me something about me. I want you to know that how a person treats you is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their character. I remember the first time I ever met his mom, and I told her what I did, and she said to me, "You're a blogger. Interesting to see where you'll be at in 5 years." This was 3 years ago, and I'm just over here like, girl, it's only been 3. You better check back with me in 5. The best part about all of this is that I can confidently look at you and say, I'm made for this. I was made to do this, and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. And that feels so good to say that. It would be so easy to look at my life from the outside, or to just see me on e-news, or see me putting out pictures of my clothing line. I just wanted to let you guys know that I've actually been treated the absolute worst by people who are supposed to treat me the best. I could come out of that experience and get to where I am today, and if I can go through that and I can get here, so can you. I just wanted to give you hope that even the most negative situation can transform into something absolutely beautiful. I feel like this is a common theme in my life. Like, Carly thinks one thing's gonna happen, a ton of crazy things happen, and then something even better happens. Like, oh my gosh. I am so nervous for what part 3 of this video is gonna be. I'm not ready for it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you guys for sticking with me and being with me through these crazy, amazing experiences. Let me know down below if you have requests for any other kind of personal videos you want to see, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.